Hello, it's Neil Green here, and I am going to discuss the Critical Incident Questionnaire, or CIQ for short. I'm just going to get right into it in respect for your time. And my reason for proposing using the CIQ with our existing faculty members is to improve student learning, improve our teaching, and improve critical thinking. And my assumption is that is going to lead to increased retention rates. It just stands to reason that if our instruction is better, more engaging, students are going to be more engaged and happy with their college experience. And some rationale and things that are in the works are I've conducted research with Kendall College students for my dissertation, and that research suggested from several participants in the study that we need to improve teaching practices in all disciplines. And for example, somebody may know everything there is about accounting, but they haven't had courses in teaching and how to deliver that content. And the idea is the thought is that if we improve their ability to deliver content, the experience for everyone is going to be better. And again, my proposal is to use the CIQ or something like it with existing faculty members because it's easy, it's free, which is always good, and it's fast. And Dr. Von Cure and I are enrolled in professional development courses through the Laureate Network, and I discussed that with Amanda. And the focus for that is going to be on new faculty members. We're going to take the courses ourselves, make sure they meet our needs, and if they do, we're going to direct new faculty members brought on board to enroll in these professional courses to, again, improve the overall experience. Okay, and Stephen Brookfield is the professor who designed the Critical Incident Questionnaire, and there's the ISBN for his book where I learned about this, and if you're interested, you can look that up. And he has a website as well, a very comprehensive website with resources that he has given permission to use for anybody who sees fit, or whatever works for their purposes. And for our purposes, I'm suggesting the Critical Incident Questionnaire. And it's important that I bring up my experience as a learner to kind of drive home the point or the rationale for even suggesting the CIQ. Me personally, I started out as an undergraduate, and I did not take school very seriously. I went to school as an undergraduate to become a baseball player, and I thought that shortstop for the New York Yankees was in my future after graduation. Then reality set in, and me not taking my program seriously resulted in a 2.6 grade point average, and not good. But then luckily, somehow, I found a graduate school in Maryland that essays were a huge part of the admissions process, and writing is my strength, so I was able to write a decent essay, get in, and then I excelled as a graduate student and excelled and eventually recently finished my doctorate. So the reason I bring that up is because I understand what students are going through. I understand wanting to quit. I understand what it means when you're just like to the end of your rope. I remember calling my dad to this day saying, "Hey, I'm not going to go back to school." It was in the summer, and I said, "I'm not going to go back to school." And for whatever reason, I persisted, pretty much because threats from my parents. But hey, I made it, and went on to graduate and further my academic career. And again, one of the most powerful things that a teacher can do is put themselves in their students' shoes, and that's what the Critical Incident Questionnaire does. It forces teachers to look at things from their students' perspectives. Okay, and I can get into assumptions later for a longer presentation, but the Critical Incident Questionnaire questions are at the end of each class. They are: what is the most engaged moment in class? What's the most distanced moment in class? The most helpful action? The most puzzling action? And what surprised you most? And it's really that simple, and students write their answer, and it takes 5 minutes of class. And I suggest weekly. and that's something we can discuss if that seems realistic or not to you guys, and see what your thoughts are on that. It's completely anonymous. Students can say whatever they like, and make it mandatory when possible. And then what happens, the students will fill out those short answers to these questions here, the CIQ questions, and then the instructor takes it home and looks for frequency analysis. Are there any emerging themes? Are there things that are repeated? And then they'll take those themes, and having done this myself in courses that I taught on campus when I lived in Chicago, themes emerge. And then what happens is you report those back to class, what you found out, and you discuss it. And it's a negotiation, not a capitulation to the majority opinion. And what it does is it gives students a voice and allows them to express themselves and share their ideas. That doesn't mean that you're going to have to throw away every plan that you have, but it does force the instructor to think about how they deliver content and perhaps make adjustments as needed. And again, it's a negotiation. Okay. And what are some advantages of the CIQ? It alerts us to problems before disaster develops. The way we have it set up right now, we have end of course evaluations. The course is over. What this does is on a weekly basis inform instructors as to what's going on in the class, what students believe to be unfair or confusing, and then the instructors can adjust as needed on a weekly basis rather than a quarterly basis. And it encourages students to be, the CIQ encourages students to be reflective learners. It starts them and walks them through the process of critical thinking. And having done it myself, it starts out a little bit slow, but then as you go week by week using the CIQ, the responses become more sophisticated and students get used to it, and they tend to, my students loved being able to express their opinions and knew that I was listening to them. And what another advantage is that it builds a case for diversity in teaching. Our students are diverse, and what works for one particular group of students may not work for another. I would go even as far as to say as strategies for one class may not work for another. And it's with these short journal type things or responses to the CIQ questions, it informs teachers as to what's going on with that particular student that particular week. Okay, and it builds trust. Students need to trust their instructor, and when that happens, it enables a classroom community to form. Their opinions are heard. Again, we may not necessarily implement all of their suggestions, but we hear them, we listen to them, and that's important, and students respond to that. They want that. Our students are adults, and adults need to feel that feeling of that they matter and their opinions matter. So it's just about acknowledging students. That's a big deal. And they suggest possibilities for teacher development. What are my shortcomings as a teacher? What do I need? What could I change? How can I improve? I remember being a grade school teacher and hearing other colleagues of mine say, "Man, every kid failed that test. I can't believe it." And that was actually my first year and only time I ever went into the teacher's lounge, and I thought to myself, the students didn't fail. You failed to teach them something. The students did not fail that. But I just kept my mouth shut. But yeah, that was an example of how teachers can start thinking about what they can do, because they can control that. All right, and again, this is for a longer sort of thing, but what students want are respect, research, and by research I mean for decision making. Why are you doing what you're doing? How many of you probably remember being in middle school and thinking, why am I learning this? And adults are no different. They want to know, why is this important to me? So the research behind that, there should be research behind what we do. And responsiveness, we need to be available for our students. We want, whether that's a formal meeting in the classroom or informal meeting outside of the classroom, we need to be available for our students. So again, here are some other resources from Brookfield that can be used to encourage critical thinking. And I am going to attach the actual example of a critical incident questionnaire and what the students fill out. And we could, use different variations of this, but as long as we ask these basic questions, their engaged moment, most distance moment, most helpful action, puzzling action, and what surprised them most, that's the important thing. Alright guys, I appreciate it and hope you'll consider using the Critical Incident Questionnaire in the future to make Kendall College better for instructors and learners. Have a great day.